Okay, so for the last 5 to 7 days, we've been dealing with fairly mild conditions over the British Isles, but in stark contrast, we've been talking about the coldest Arctic outbreak since 2012 across parts of southeastern and eastern Europe. Thanks for clicking on to the Monday edition of Vogan's European Outlook. It looks as if we have got very significant changes coming up in the weather for the week ahead. We've got bitterly cold air over North America, Eastern Europe, and a chunk of Eastern Asia as well. So the continents, the mid-latitude continents at the moment, are rather cold. But of course, here across the UK, as it seems to be the case in recent years, we are on the wrong side of either the jet or the ridge, the trough, whatever you want to say. Recent years has seen other parts of even our continent shiver while we've been left out in the balmy Atlantic air. But we are going to see changes. The reason why is we've got major cold, uh, Arctic cold, pushing off North America, and it's about to cross the Atlantic. So by the time we get to Wednesday into Thursday into Friday and the upcoming weekend, we are going to be talking about bitterly cold winds, gale force winds, and also snow. Not just the high ground, but also down to low levels as well. So the GFS is indicating that we have got, as you'll know if you live in the northwest of Scotland, we've got a very windy day up here, and we are going to see restriction to travel, bridges, so on and so forth. But we're still in the relatively milder, even though we're going to see a fairly cool wind, snow to higher elevations of Scotland. It's not until we reach the middle part of the week when that North American Arctic air makes a passage across the UK, and then we're going to start to pull winds in from the north, and this will probably be the coldest blast of air in terms of wind chill of the season so far. This winter so far is playing out kind of what I expected. That Europe could be shivering while the UK is left out. That fight between Atlantic and Arctic, that was always a concern that 2011-12 could repeat itself this year. And so far it has been the case, but we're still early in the game yet. We're still only on the 9th of January here. So you can see here, as we skip forward, that area of low pressure passes fairly close to the north coast of Scotland. So we're going to pull in westerly winds in, northwesterly winds, gale force gusts probably in excess of 70 miles an hour, and exposed west coast and higher elevation. Still relatively mild across the southern half of the UK, but all that wind will mean that we're going to keep the temperature somewhat above freezing. There's a few sheltered spots this morning below freezing, but it's January. What do you expect? But it has been mild. That is about to change. Now, as we go into Tuesday, it's a quieter weather pattern, if you notice here. Still plenty of active weather here across parts of the Balkans, Greece, into Turkey as well. Cold, snowy conditions. But with the push of Atlantic air into the western half of the continent, that ripple effect across the continent means that we're starting to see that extreme cold start to lift, and it's going to start to ease off as we go through the week, and it's going to change over like a seesaw. While the UK was mild last week, and of course the eastern and southeastern half of the continent was bitterly cold, we're going to see a big change come the end of this week. We're going to see an opposite effect. We're going to start to see warming temperatures in the southeast, cold temperatures in the northwest here. So as we continue to skip through the day, Wednesday, a front pushes through. We're going to pick up that colder, obviously ocean modified, but we are going to see a very strong westerly wind blowing a gale force likely across the board, really from central England northwards here. And the air, as we progress through Wednesday, is going to grow steadily colder because that air mass that is currently over the eastern half of the United States and Canada will be over the UK by this stage later Wednesday and into Thursday. During the day on Thursday, which changed the wind direction from west to northwest, and that is when we start to see thickness values come down. Air temperature going to be struggling to get above freezing, folks, but it's the wind that will factor in a really biting wind chill. We're probably going to be talking -4 to -6 widely, even during daylight hours on Thursday. so you'll definitely want to have the hands covered up, the face well protected here. It's going to be a bit of a shock to the system given how mild it has been recently. So we're going to see snow, not just the high ground, but down the low levels. Pinpoint exactly where we get that snow still remains to be seen, but it does look as if we've got some very interesting weather coming up to end this week. You can see here 5/16 thicknesses. That is a very cold air mass. Polar maritime, yes, but when you've got that bitterly cold air crossing relatively warm waters, you then convect moisture into the atmosphere, and that will fall as snow over the UK here. Snowfall wise, it's hard to say exactly how much we're going to see out with the typical mountain regions here, but certainly it looks as if we are going to see a significant snowfall, I think, especially across the Highlands, across potentially the southern uplands and North Pennines, so on and so forth. We're going to see some very significant snow, particularly across the Northwest Highlands, because the wind is coming in. So upslope areas, northwest facing mountain ranges will start to pick up very significant snowfall indeed here. So we are going to see a big change as we go through the next week or so. More on the longer range pattern as we go through this week, and I'll be back again in the next couple of days. Hope you have a great day and be safe. Bye for now.